That Rain-Kissed Umbrella, Chapter 2. A Miraculous Ladybug Fanfiction written and narrated by Eleanor Rose. If you have not heard the previous chapter of this story, or the previous 2 series in this trilogy, you can find a link to them in the description box below. Again, That Rain-Kissed Umbrella is the 3rd part in a trilogy, its prequels being Strawberry Frappuccinos in a Black Leather Jacket, followed by When Honey Turns Bitter. If you have not enjoyed those stories, please go back and enjoy them now. Marinette awoke to her phone buzzing and groaned. Dumb cat boy. Why was he always up so early? He was a model, after all. He shouldn't be up before the coffee's done brewing down the street. So, can we meet up sometime? The message read. Not this again. He'd been heckling her since he learned they both lived in Paris. She liked the guy, but not enough to reveal her identity. The last time she did that, it literally broke a relationship, although it wasn't entirely her fault. Bold of you to assume I have free time, she typed back. Oh? What's a day like for you? His response came as she was brushing her teeth. Marinette grabbed her phone and walked into the living room with her toothbrush hanging out of her mouth. She needed to finish the macaroons for the day before leaving for school. Her dad had most of it done. She was the assembly line. Look at that, Tom, her mother said, patting his arm. It must be a boy. But we don't discriminate if it isn't, he piped in, giving a supporting nod. Lads, lass, and non-binary are welcome. Marinette rolled her eyes. Her father had read an article about cisgenderism and was now hypersensitive about it. It's a boy, she said, continuing before they had a chance to comment, who I've done work for. Nothing more. Tom sighed in relief, but Sabine wore a knowing smile. That's nice, dear, she said, bemused. Why do you want to know? Are you looking for ideas? She texted. Excuse you, he messaged back. 4? I'm just trying to get to know my friend better. Uh-huh. Yep. I believe you. 100%. Ouch. My lady, you're awful. You know that? Didn't you say you'd stop calling me that? Did I? Marinette giggled and sighed. How's it going with your ex? Did your plan to get back together work out? Truthfully, when he'd confessed to her his girl troubles, she'd kind of been hurt, although she had no right to be. Of course a funny, handsome guy like him had a girlfriend, and she had zero interest in dating him. But she enjoyed the attention he gave her. Oh well, can't have your cake and eat it too. Especially in love. At least this way she knew his throwaway comments were just that. Still working on it. What about you? Any news from that boy you kissed? She nearly winced at the message. I think it's best if I leave it be, she typed. Now that Marinette put some distance between herself and Adrien, it's easy to see just how concerning her actions were. She knew it was wrong when she did it, but there's something about her feelings for him that put her judgment in a daze. Ouch. He doesn't deserve you anyway. Right. Thanks, Cat. I'm just saying. You'd have to be blind not to notice your humor and charm so strong, it oozes even across digital connections. She smiled sadly at the phone, sighing loudly enough to grab her parents' attention. Marinette had no doubt his words were true. It's just... Adrien is in love with someone else, not just in like with someone. Love. How could she compete with that? The thought haunted her as she put macaroons together one by one in the bakery, and no amount of filling would sweeten it. To her surprise, her phone vibrated again. Cat. She hadn't responded, but he still messaged her anyway. She tapped her smartwatch with her nose so she wouldn't have to change gloves to view the message. Good luck today, wherever you are. Marinette smiled at the message and sighed, feeling a bit better. Pressing together the last macaroon, she grabbed the piping bag and drew an outline of a cat on top. It was a good luck charm, because of him. Okay. Classes start in just over an hour. Time to take off the gloves and get ready. Toast for breakfast, then a toothbrush, and then out the door early enough to make herself seem like an eager student. Except, as she brushed her teeth, Marinette realized she was still wearing her bunny pajamas. Great. Take a deep breath, girl. It's not a bad day yet. She heard her phone buzz again and chose to ignore it. It's probably Cat. Internet friends would have to wait until after she's on time for class. Just the thought of going gave her anxiety, so she didn't want to know what being late would be like. Of course, the ultimate anxiety test was sitting across from Chloe during class. She barely looked at her, and she still felt the weight of her gaze. To be frank, the school day was a nightmare. Chloe kept one-upping her during discussions and pointed out a flaw in one of her designs. Marinette would have appreciated it if it was from literally any other person, but it wasn't. It was from the girl whose boyfriend she had kissed in a moment of passion and lack of judgment, and she knew she was hated for it. What's worse is Adrian had to pay the price for her mistakes, even though he— You have got to be kidding me, Felix! Marinette snapped up at Chloe's protest. Wait, what? What was going on? She'd been so absorbed in her planner, she tuned out the lecture. You heard me, the professor continued. Felix was a stunning designer, showing off his legs for days while often prancing around in cape-esque dresses, however impractical they may be. Group projects paired with the person sitting across from you. Marinette's heart drops like Chloe's jaw, and for the first time in the last 48 hours, the girls turn to look at each other, locking eyes. Oh, I will see you all on Monday, Felix says, turning off the projector and grabbing his briefcase. Good day. Marinette sat stunned, blinking like a fool in oncoming traffic. Paired? With Chloe? Maybe she should have been late to class today, or skipped altogether. Well, I guess we're in this together, Chloe sighs, standing up. Where do you live? Her tone is lighter than Marinette expected, and it made her a bit tense. My place? Duh! I'm not letting you go near my home on the off chance Adrian shows up. The bitterness in her tone, a direct contrast to her last sentence, freezes Marinette's heartbeat. It's a reasonable demand, but now she'll probably start thinking of her bedroom as a guild cavern because they can't work at Chloe's place. Cafes are out of the question as well, considering no Starbucks in the area would be okay with them draping bolts of fabric across 4 chairs worth of space. Yeah. I live above the bakery on the corner of Rufa. She feels her face grow hot, embarrassed of the situation she created. If she kept her lips and her heart to herself, she might be friends with Chloe instead of trembling at the idea of working in her bedroom. Got it. I'll be there 6 a.m. sharp tomorrow. 6? Marinette exclaims. Duh. The sooner we get this over with, the better. I haven't looked at the assignment yet, but I've heard the number one thing that failed people last semester is that they weren't able to complete Professor Felix's assignment, despite having months to get it done. I'm not going to let that happen to me. Me. Not us. Me too, Marinette says, straightening herself. I won't let it happen to me, too. Chloe leaves before she finishes her sentence, and it says a lot. She doesn't trust her, and she doesn't care. Oh dear. This was going to be a long semester. Packing up her things, Marinette sighs and checks her phone. Sure enough, there are a few messages from Cat Noir. Her eyes land on the last one he sent, and it warmed her from the very core. I saw this and thought of you for some reason. It was a photo of a macaroon with a black cat drawn on top. Her macaroon. Beaming at her phone, Marinette began to respond until a realization hit her. Her macaroon. Cat went to her parents' bakery. Was she, perhaps, closer to this guy than she thought? Do they cross paths more often than he thinks? Did she meet him on the street that one day with Alya, not because there was a shoot nearby, but because he was going home, and home happens to be near her? What are the chances? Ever so slowly, Marinette began to pack her things, stiffened by this new realization. Cat Noir was far more a real person in her life than she once thought. With a sigh, she trudged out the door and headed home, shoulders tight. There's no way Cat would be there when she arrived, right? He sent that message an hour ago. And yet, when she walked into the bakery, she was disappointed he wasn't there. As much as she wanted to keep her identity a secret, it would be nice to curl up on the couch with him and vent about her day over some mad sessions of video games. But alas, ideals are not reality. Reluctantly, Marinette went upstairs and collapsed on her bed, thoughts nagging her to get ready for tomorrow. Closing her eyes to block them out, Marinette fell asleep, hoping her subconscious would treat her better than the day did. Thank you so much for listening. Chapter 3 is on its way. In the meantime, you can check out these other videos for more fanfiction. I'll catch you next time.